Hi, it's Mark Owen from Moose Marketing and PR, the editor of Punchline magazine. Welcome to Punchline Talks. Today I'm joined by Lee Woodward, the CEO and founder and joint owner of Skyborne, based in Gloucestershire Airport. Good morning, Lee. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Mark. Nice to be here.
Thanks ever so much. When I think of Skyborne, I'm sorry about this, but I just got to think of Skyfall. I've been humming Skyfall all morning. So do you guys ever get mixed up?
We don't, but if I let you into a secret, when we formed the company, we used a London-based brand design agency, a very, very good brand design agency. And one of the exercises they did was about how we wanted to be perceived, whether it was a cool brand, et cetera, et cetera. And the Skyfall connotation did come into that process in their minds, not in ours, but in their minds. Yeah.
I think it does. I'm going to bring up the quick picture of the front of your building. It's very cool. I do like it. Can you tell us a bit more about the company? So you're based at Gloucestershire Airport. How long have you guys been going? How many people work for you? What's your turnover, if that's okay? Give us a bit more detail, if you don't mind, Lee.
Yeah, so company was formed in 2017. The picture you've just shown is obviously our UK training centre, HQ. The nice thing about what we were able to do was design it from the ground up. So we've literally designed it, a bespoke design for pilot training. Often flight schools, flight training companies are having to, work in warehouses and old factories and this, that, and the other. We were able to build this with the, full knowledge that we were going to do pilot training in it, and we've benefited from that massively. Started in 2017. We've got around 44 staff now in the organisation, so we've grown quite rapidly. We're geared up to train around 120 trainees a year. Had COVID have not hit. That's an interesting picture. That was day one when we opened the business with just one aeroplane. There is an updated version of that picture now with the apron full of aircraft, which I hope you've got. So had COVID not hit, we would be full to the brim now with trainees. That was the plan at this stage. But a couple of the airline programs we were due to launch last spring were suspended because of COVID. And we're probably running at around 45 to 50% capacity right now. So it's built for 120, and we're running at somewhere between 45 and 50 pilots at the moment.
Surely, with aviation industry as it is, and lots of pilots being laid off. You hear of stories, Sainsbury's, Tesco, all employing easyJet and Ryanair pilots. Will we still need this many pilots in the future? Does the business model still hold up?
It does. I mean, without doubt. If you look at all of the projections from all of the leading industry analysts, it suggests we're still going to have an enormous shortage of pilots over the next 5 to 10 years. So, okay, it's been maybe pushed down the track a little by maybe 2 years or so. So what was actually looming in October, November of 2019 has probably been pushed back by about 2 years. I think that's fair to say, but it's only been stalled or suspended. What's coming down the track is still coming down the track. I don't think there's going to be a huge drop off in appetite for people to travel. I think we'll see in 2022 onwards, basically travel behaviors return. And so all the projections from Boeing and Airbus and other, independent analysts, Oliver Wyman agency did an amazing interview on CNBC last week. And I thought they captured that perfectly, where they showed the projection over the next 10 years and the demand for pilots, how it's going to increase. I think one of the things that's happened with COVID is an acceleration of people retiring as well. We won't know the full effects of that until the next 6 to 12 months, let's say.
I was going to say, why did you choose Gloucestershire Airport? Was it a no-brainer? Was it, why here? Why did you launch the company here?
Okay, so I mean, myself and my business partner, we've been in the industry for 30 years. So I previously was a director and a co-owner of a very, very large and successful training organization known as CTC Aviation. We had facilities dotted around the world. And when we decided to form Skyborne, once I'd finished that business and we formed Skyborne, we knew we wanted to be in the UK initially, and we looked around 5 or 6 potential suitors in terms of a home for our business. And really, Gloucestershire Airport was the standout candidate. Geographically, excellent location, within 30 minutes of half a dozen, if not more, international airports. So for commercial and airline pilot training, it's perfect. It's got good road links, rail links, but the actual airport itself, as a user, is really, really important. Has excellent facilities, 2 independent runways, a proper air traffic control system, and it has facilities that are perfect for commercial flight training. It's also not on a major international airport. So in other words, we're not wrestling against the commercial airliners. And so as a user, as a professional flight training organization, it ticks every box.
I mean, it is a stunning building. I have been down to your place a couple of times and round all over the airport. And people don't realise. I don't think a lot of people realise what a great community of businesses are actually there at Gloucestershire Airport.
It really is, and I think the airport's new CEO, Karen, is doing an excellent job. You can see she has an appetite to really put this on the market. On the map. Not the market, but on the map. Yeah. And in fact, I went on record saying when we started Skyborne that to a large extent, Gloucester over the years historically has played second fiddle to a number of other regional airports, not least of which Oxford, for example. And I think that balance should change. I think for the general aviation market, I think for the corporate jet market, for the helicopter market, and professional pilot training market, honestly, this is absolutely the best airfield in the country. I have no bias. There's no reason why I would say that. We could have gone to one of 5 or 6 different sites, and we chose this, and I'm so glad we did.
I mean, you've recently bought, acquisitioned a business in America, haven't you? In a flight school in Florida as well.
Yes, we have in Vero Beach, in Florida. So that's a flight training facility that is absolutely steeped in pilot training heritage, built in 1966, possibly more airline pilots trained through that facility than any other facility in the world. They estimate 27,000 of the world's airline pilots have trained through there. We're very, very proud to have acquired it. And our job now is to take it up a level and actually make it even better, without being arrogant about that. That's our aspiration. So we're really, really excited about that. And we're hoping to take full ownership from the 1st of May. So really exciting.
So what makes a good pilot then? I don't know, you get the raw material. Do you find that people have done it as a hobby and they suddenly want to change careers? I mean, how do you become a commercial pilot? Do you give you a call and say, I'd like to do this training?
I'm a commercial pilot. I started my career in 1990 flying with British Airways. I flew for 14 years with BA, combination of 757s, 67s, 747s. I'm still a training captain on the 757 now. I still do it. I still train in the simulator. I don't fly the line, but I examine and train in the sim. And in my previous company that I mentioned earlier on, I think we were probably responsible for recruiting, training, and placing maybe more than 3,000 pilots in the 14 years that I was there. So we've become sort of almost experts in that field. And I think the main thing is to say there's no one size fits all. People can come from all sorts of backgrounds and be very successful. It's not about, necessarily, their socioeconomic status. It's not about whether they've studied science or arts. It really isn't. It's all about those skill sets that are required to do the job properly. So, and we test that. So selection is the key. So putting a robust and resilient selection process in place is really important. And then taking that person with those raw or embryonic skills and developing them over the year and a half that we have them to be not just technically competent, but also we develop their professionalism and their attitude, and if you like, their suitability for airline operations, and give them the best possible start to their career. It's not easy to do, but it's something that over the years we've managed to hone that skill.
How long does it take to train a pilot? In a
Approximately-
level, how does it work? So you start the little biplanes and Hawker Hunter jets, or
No, we don't fly biplanes or Hawk Hunter jets. No, so we have single engine piston aircraft here known as Diamond DA40s. We train the pilots on those aircraft initially, just doing general handling and the basic flying skills. And then, of course, they advance through their training then onto multi-engine aircraft. On the Diamond DA42, we have simulators to support that. And then eventually they learn to fly on instruments. So with sole reference to instruments only, because out there in the commercial world, flying an airliner, as you can well appreciate, you're not always going to be flying on clear days. You're going to be flying on, dark and stormy days. And so to train them at this stage in that environment is really important. And then eventually they'll transition then into jet simulators. We have a 737 jet simulator here. So they'll transition through that before they go to the airline.
is this the jet simulator here? I think I've got a photograph of it here. Oh no, that's not it. That's your logo.
Yeah,
That's your
Boeing
logo.
737 MAX simulator.
Right. Okay. Do you take apprenticeships as well? Can you start off as an apprenticeship pilot?
It's a really good question. We are leading a panel at the moment, working with airlines and the government on an apprenticeship scheme. So it's not actually out there, it's not up and running yet, but we're right at the forefront of those discussions.
I mean, how do you, the other thing I meant to ask you is, how do you work with businesses across Gloucestershire? Are you looking to connect to more different companies? Are you looking to expand your service base, or the connections between your business? Because, not being funny, lots of people don't really know who you are.
Well, I mean, within our industry, within our community, until quite recently, we had a fairly significant maintenance contract with a maintenance provider on the airfield here. We've now taken that in-house for no other reason. That's just part of our development as a company, our evolution to do that. We also work with, we have an informal arrangement with the air traffic control school here on the airport, and we're looking to how we can strengthen that. And we've already started to utilize a significant amount of hotel and accommodation supply in the local area. We've been doing that until quite recently. We're about to open our own accommodation center, mind you, that has 88 bedrooms, but clearly that's been around 9 months of construction and development, and various organizations and local building suppliers have benefited from that. And then finally, obviously, our activity as we grow here on the airfield will have significant value to the airport authority.
Are you looking to recruit more people as well? I know it's a bit...
Yes, for sure. So at the moment, as we say, because of COVID, numbers are holding steady, but we are going to be growing back, towards our 120 a year trainee target, which will probably mean our staff number here in the UK, I think, will move from, say, 44 to at least 60 to 70, I would imagine, once we get to capacity.
So you've been in pilot for quite some time. What's the most scariest airport to land in that you've ever flown in?
Scary is probably not the right word. Challenging is maybe...
Yes, I much prefer my captain of the plane to say...
You don't really want your pilots scared, do you? But certainly challenging. I would say technically challenging. The old Hong Kong airport, Kai Tak, certainly has its challenges. Gibraltar, can be challenging, but equally just busy airports, which has very, very high volume of activity, just needs a significant amount of concentration, obviously. So flying into the likes of New York or Los Angeles, San Francisco. I mean, really, really love flying into those airports. I really do. They're busy. You've got to be vigilant. Obviously, be very accurate in what you do. But that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's really rewarding.
I would imagine, somewhere like flying over Heathrow and, as a passenger, and you just see other planes looping round and round and round with you. Do you end up sometimes just going in a big loop for like half an hour, 45 minutes, as they're trying to clear the runway, or as it appears to me as a passenger sometimes?
No, I mean, for a long time, Heathrow was my home base when I was flying with British Airways. And those days, yeah, holding was something that just seemed to happen all the time. It's definitely getting less and less as air traffic control systems improve, slot times become more accurate. And so when you depart your airfield on the way to, say, Heathrow or New York, wherever it may be, we're a lot more scientific now about controlling departure times and arrival times to try and avoid unnecessary holding. Occasionally there'll be an issue, a technical problem maybe at an airport that causes an interruption. But I would say in the main, the norm now is very much changing the need to hold needlessly, if I may say so. And I think there are further sophistications coming down the track that will ultimately eradicate the need to go into a stack at all. That's the plan.
What about the electric planes? They're talking about 5-10 years away. Can you see that happening?
Well, in terms of sorry, I'm just fiddling with my computer at the moment, Mark, because I've lost you on the screen, but I'm sure you're there somewhere.
Yeah. You can't get rid of me that
anyway. In terms of training electric aircraft, we have on order at the moment 10 electric training aircraft that are being made by a company in Denver, Colorado, called By Aerospace. We think that's possibly the market leader at the moment in electric training aircraft. Probably your question, I guess, was more pointed towards commercial airline operations. We've heard, obviously, announcements from Airbus and I think from Boeing as well about potential future airline operations that are fully electrically powered. I think we're probably some time away from that, but certainly I was privy to an announcement by Airbus, I'm sure, a few years ago at the Royal Aeronautical Society that said they were aiming for around 2030, maybe even before then. So there's definitely, as we all know, whether it's cars, boats, trains or planes, huge advancements in electric technology, generally being held back by battery technology, but we can see that that's improving all the time. And certainly in our own discussions with By Aerospace, we can see the changes in the development profile of those aircraft for sure, which is largely governed by battery technology.
Heathrow, just my own personal interest, Heathrow Airport, do they still need that new runway they were talking about?
Well, I think from Heathrow's point of view, yes. I mean, I'm in that. My comment there is just purely as an observer, like your good self. They've gone on record and made it quite clear if they're to meet their growth and expansion plans, then the third independent runway is required, and of course it's been approved. So yeah, I would say it's still very much in Heathrow's sights for sure.
Do you get a chance to sort of fly, as a hobby now?
I could do. I mean, obviously I have a license, a current license, a current medical. I'm not doing it at the moment. First of all, if I'm honest, I'm too busy right now, and certainly with the development of the new facility in Florida, we are really, really very, very busy right now. But my goal, hopefully, is once we've acquired and completed that deal, perhaps is to fly those aircraft out in the United States. The aircraft we operate out in the US, or will be operating, is the light aircraft I originally trained on, albeit a much newer variant of it. So in a way, from a nostalgic point of view, it'd be lovely to go fly that aircraft again.
Skyborne itself, where do you like to see the business in 5 years' time? How, I know we're coming out of global pandemic. I know things will have changed, but what was the business plan?
The business plan for Skyborne is really quite straightforward. We built the facility here in the UK to accommodate up to 120 full-time trainees per year and possibly 40 to 60 part-time trainees. And most of our part-time trainees are military pilots who are making a conversion from the military to the civil arena. And that really is our business model. We're not interested in growing the UK business to 200, 300, 400 pilots. Both Ian and I, my business partner, we've done that. And that's not what we're about. We want to make it better and better and better, not bigger. So without sounding too trite or too cliche, that is our business model. It's constantly in search of excellence and making it as good as it can be. Similarly, in the US, it's a much bigger facility. It's a 30-acre site. We have 60 aircraft out there, and we have accommodation on site. It's a true campus facility with 314 bedrooms. Now, that facility has trained in the past over 500 trainees, but again, that's not our business model. Our business model is to maintain the number of circa maybe 340 trainees, and really largely based around airline training. So obviously having partnerships with the world's best airlines is our goal. It's our driver. We want to be working with the likes of British Airways and EasyJet and Flybe and Virgin Atlantic and Wizz in the UK potentially. And in the United States, our goal is to be working with the United Airlines, the Deltas, the SkyWests, and American, etc. We obviously work with Indigo already, which is the leading airline in India. We're really proud of that. The airline has over 60% market share, and in my opinion, is by far and away the leading airline in India. So to have a relationship with them already is a huge coup. But then outside of that, we've got great relations in the Far East and the Middle East, and our goal is to develop those relations as well. That's where we all want to take the business over the next 5 years. And finally, developing our educational platforms. So we already have a digital ground school, which we've launched in the UK, and we want to now launch that in India, and then beyond that into the United States. That means that pilots can have the option to do the theoretical knowledge training either in the school or remotely from home, and it's fully supported by our tutors in the company. So it's a really interactive digital platform. We're also about to start cabin crew training here in the UK, so that's going to be very exciting as we're soon to deliver the first course of cabin crew training, which we're really excited about. And then finally, on our radar, excuse the pun, is maintenance training. We believe that there's a significant market opportunity for licensed mechanics, and we want to be delivering that training both in the UK and in the United States.
So you're doing the waitress training at the moment. How many people are on the course?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
How many people are actually on the course on the waitress training?
On the cabin crew training?
Cabin crew, I shouldn't say waitress, cabin crew training, yes.
Yeah, so the cabin crew training, we're waiting for the UK CAA to give us the green light to be able to come in and assess our first course. So the program has been approved, and it's been ready to be delivered now for the last 4 months or so. But given COVID restrictions, the UK CAA have not been able to come out to physically give us the approval. So that's imminent. I would say that that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. And I think we're looking at 12 participants on the first course. And then we'll be running it in groups of 12 thereafter.
That's fantastic. Is this the first kind of its kind that you've done before? Or did you do this in the previous company?
No, it's quite an interesting question. No, we did not do that in my previous company. But it's always been a personal ambition of mine. And changes in regulation have played into our hands slightly. And so, yeah, we're really excited about it. But that's an example, actually, coming back to your question earlier on. how we will be involving suppliers and facilities from the local area. So we'll be working with the local fire service to deliver the fire training side of it. We'll be working with the swimming pool in Gloucester to do all the dinghy drills. And also we're working with some of the local medics to do the medical training. So that is an example actually of a question you asked a few minutes back.
And of course, you could always go to the Ivy and they could teach you some waitress stuff as well. I don't know why I said waitress. Well,
you jest. However, one of the features of our cabin crew training program, which is not required, but we're adding to it, is 2 days of formal customer service training. Currently, none of the other cabin crew training providers in the UK are doing that, but we think it's a really, really valuable add-on. And at no cost to the individual, they'll receive 2 days of formal customer service training, and it really is a high-end product, I can promise you.
I think that sounds great. Before we sort of break up, Lee, I've got to ask you sort of personal question. What kind of music do you like? What's your favourite album that you've got? You've got a bit of vinyl in your cupboard. What would it be?
Oh, it's a really good question. So I'm a huge fan of Spotify. So right now I'm listening to 70s Road Trip by Spotify. If you haven't listened to it, have a listen to it. It's just fantastic. I was fortunate enough last month to drive a convertible from Phoenix to Los Angeles to catch my flight home and listen to that Spotify 6.5 hours of 70s Road Trip music. That's my favorite tune right now.
Fantastic. Well, I always ask our guests, what's your top 3 business tips, if you don't mind?
That's a really, really good question. I guess for all companies, it's different. So I will just answer it how I've seen it. I think you've got to have a really good value proposition to your customers. It's very simple. We offer pretty bespoke products to our customers, and our customers are both the trainees and the airline. So we see our customers as the center of everything we do, and we have a high value proposition. So the quality of the product, the quality of the training or the service we provide is really key. So I think that's important. I think you've got to deliver on what you say you're going to do. So it's no good just having a fancy advertising and marketing campaign and then not deliver on it. So I think value proposition to your customer and then delivering on that value proposition is really important. And finally, for me, I think it's the value of your staff. So we have a very, very simple ethic in our business. We're non-hierarchical. Quite literally, our door is always open to the team. We engage with the staff. We engage with the team. We allow them to come up with ideas, and we channel those ideas as much as possible. So I think, staff engagement is key.
Lee, really great to talk to you today. Thanks ever so much for joining Punchline Talks. I'm afraid we just ran out of time. And I'm sure the business will carry on taking off. I had to get that in there. I mean,
you had to. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for your time as well.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Oh my God, did I press stop there?